Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the greatest podcast in the world. I have this on the wrong thing. Okay, there we go. Now we're on the podcast thing. Hey, you there. I'm Johananon. I'm the best. I play games, and people like me because I'm so handsome.
It's me, Casualty CDG. I'm the co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. It's where we play tabletop role-playing games. If you like that stuff, check it out. If you don't, then don't. We're here to talk about movies, video games, and shows.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and this is episode 121 of Fresh Out the Podcast. And we're back again. This makes 2 weeks in a row after our previous little break, and it's actually funny when you look at our behind the scenes look at our dashboard on Podbean where we host our podcast. Our listens in the versus the previous 14 days is up 217%. Because that's what happens when you go from 0 episodes to 1.
You can't make up those kinds of numbers, people. We're growing by 221%. You see that? That's crazy. Crazy numbers. Print that out. Send that to everybody.
Let's get a loan from the bank for a podcast studio.
My man.
And then I've been doing some spring cleaning over here. I don't know where y'all are on the hoarder scale. If you lean into hoarder or away from hoarder, do y'all have any problem getting rid of old things, or do you like to hang on to things as much as you can? Are you sentimental in that way? Gary's shaking his head already.
I actually have legitimate regrets in my life for multiple collections that I've just gotten rid of. I have months, years, weeks. I don't know if it's natural. I don't know if it's something in my brain. I've never thought about it until right this moment. But I'll just get rid of everything. Get rid of it all and move on.
Wait, so I'm confused. So you have regret for things that you've gotten rid of?
Oh yeah, I'm the exact opposite of a hoarder. Like I used to have all those Chevron cars. Remember? I had like the whole collection of Chevron cars.
I remember.
When my parents got separated, they were like, "Do you want anything from the house?" And I was like, "Nope. Throw all that shit in the trash." So yeah, I have some regrets about stuff, and I have done that type of thing multiple times where I'll look at it and be like, man, I haven't used this in 2 or 3 years. It serves no purpose. Mm-hmm. And so I'll just throw away everything and then look back and be like, I wonder where that went. Maybe I just threw it in the trash because it does nothing.
Right.
So I'm an opposite hoarder. I throw away stuff that I still need and stuff that I still want, and I do it all the time.
I'll answer your question by asking a question. What do you think I'm pointing at right now? There's something.
Got to be a collection of something.
There's got to be some. Guess what I'm pointing at? It's not a collection.
Board games? Oh no, not a collection.
It's not a board game.
I don't know.
No,
it's
Drew,
something
hold on. Yeah, it's a hoarder thing, Drew. You got to think like a hoarder.
I just looked up. I was like, yeah, I guess I am a hoarder.
Magazines? Are there a bunch of old magazines that shouldn't even be in print anymore?
Yes, I have a bunch of old.
Yes,
in the garage.
1 point for me. Ding ding ding.
That's not what I was
posters. Do you have posters on your ceiling or something, like old posters you've just refused to take down?
Maybe. Yeah, probably. I dare. There's old posters in another room that I had up for a long time. No, I'm pointing at an old DVD player. I just looked up. I was like, oh yeah, there is something right there. Look at that. There's a box of junk electronics right over there off screen. There's a basket with magic cards in it, I think, right there. Let's see. It looks like Keon's middle school Gears of War belt. It's a belt for your pants. Yeah, I have a lot of junk off screen. Yeah, like a lot. Hey, I have my old Counter-Strike video game box tacked to the wall over there. Yeah, I'm a hoarder.
I bring this up to say my neighborhood about twice a year they have it's like community yard sale, which basically you're not allowed in my neighborhood just due to HOA rules because that's how it works.
They don't let brown people in your neighborhood.
No. He was going to say you're not allowed to just have yard sales wherever you want. He didn't.
Right. You can't just have.
I thought you were saying I couldn't go into his neighborhood because it was HOA.
No,
dang.
I heard him say that you're not allowed because of the HOA.
That's fancy. That's fancy.
Yep.
Put the guards down, Jahan. I'm not making any personal attacks here. I'm just saying.
That's a nice neighborhood, though. You know what I mean?
In my neighborhood, you can't just have a yard sale any weekend that you want. They have designated weekends, usually 2 times a year, that you do like a community yard sale.
Which is a fancy way of saying no brown people.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I've, now having a second child, there are things that I've had to move around to make room, things I need to get rid of. And I've been collecting. I had been collecting comics for nearly 20 years. And honestly, when the pandemic hit is pretty much when I stopped. I used to be out and about, going to the office every day. I've had meetings like across town. I could make stops at the comic book store each week and, in between meetings, grab what I needed. And I had comics and I went every week. And then all of a sudden I'm at home during the pandemic and I just stopped. I just stopped going. I stopped collecting. And I had stacks of unread books anyways. Like, I don't know why. I just kept buying more that I wasn't even reading. So, like, it's probably a good thing that I stopped, financially and space-wise. And it's an addiction that got cut off. But I still have boxes and boxes and boxes of comics. And I just finally got to a point where I needed to downsize and get rid of some of it. Some of it I've been able to sell off to like local comic book stores in bulk. Some of it they don't want. They're like, we don't have, there's not demand for Daredevil comics right now. We don't want these. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I will just hold on to them.
Jeez, what are people, blind?
But
okay.
So I did go through and I took out some things of value. I have some that I'm going to keep that I'll never get rid of. Like that's just, ones that are sentimental, ones that I love, like I'll never get rid of those. But when you've been collecting as long as I have, I'll be the first to tell you, not every single comic I've bought over the years is a gem. I have a lot of garbage that is of no value at all. And so I decided to take some things out, put them on a table. I posted in our neighborhood group, hey, I got comics down on this street. And I actually had a good amount of traffic that came by. And it was really fun to talk to some older collectors, like guys that are, were collecting back in the 80s, and they talked about their experience collecting then versus now, and they were looking for certain characters or things that, they wanted from my collection. You get a lot of little kids that come by that are just picking random issues out of order that just because the covers looked cool.
Yep.
And
that was me.
To be honest, Yeah, I was a fan of all of it. It was really cool to see people's reactions. People that did not look like they would be comic book fans were coming by and grabbing things. New fans, old fans alike. It was a really cool experience. So I just
Bro, you're gonna mess around and accidentally open a comic book store when you retire. People are gonna know you as that comic book guy at the yard sales.
It's a good way to
And then
retire.
eventually they're gonna be like, "Where's that comic book guy?" And you're gonna have a place so that people know where that comic book guy is.
You know what the two biggest questions I got were because I was going through. I only put out the stuff I had actually gone through because again, there were random issues I'd have like random number ones or things that were maybe worth anywhere from like 10 to 25 to $30 issue, single issues, and I kept some of those. I left some of them in, honestly. I was like, if somebody gets to find a hidden gem that I sell to them for $1, like that's cool with me. It's kind of fun too. But I pulled some things, but it was all stuff that I had gone through. I have a thing that happens when you collect comic books, and it's people that have old comics are like, I have this that's just been sitting in my attic. Here, take it. Like you collect them, you can find use for these. So I have multiple boxes of older comics that people have handed off to me that I have just not gone through and looked to see if there's any like really cool stuff in there. So I didn't put any of that out. But the main questions you get when you're selling comics are, A, do you have any older things? To which I'd say yes, but not out here. And, maybe next time I'll have those out. And the other question I got a lot of, and I guess because the two just go hand in hand, it'd be, do you have any video games? And that's what people, I guess just by selling comics, the next question is like, do you have video games? Retro
'cause
games,
you're a big old nerd.
whatever it may
Yeah.
be. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Big old nerd.
Did anyone just claim that they were going to be your friend now?
There was one guy that was like, "Oh, dang, my house is right over there. I could see my house from here." And it's
Yep.
like we clearly had that bond of like, "Oh, now I know that guy lives over there and he likes this
yeah.
kind of stuff too."
I would have,
So,
dude.
yeah.
I'd have been like, "You're my friend now, but you're already my friend." But you know what I mean? That's how we became friends in the first place. That's exactly
You
what I
actually
did.
you got a shout out during this time too, just to the random passerbys, because I did have a few people that'd be like, "Do you have any Punisher?" Like, or specifically looking for that kind of stuff. Which I was like, I really don't. I said, my best friend growing up, he was the one that had all the Punisher comics. Punisher, Deadpool, all that was more him, and I was more of like your Spider-Man and X-Men guy.
You might have those. If you have Thomas's comics, you might have those because that was same as the Chevron cars, part of that. You know what? It's over there. Fuck it. Throw it away. I don't want anything to do with that
Put it
life.
in the
I'm moving on.
trash.
Put everything that I ever owned in the trash.
I do still have all of Thomas's. I, of course, did not sell any of those. I wanted to hold on to those because he entrusted those with me, so those will remain part of the collection. Although I do need to go through a lot of them. No offense, Thomas. Some of your comics they could have been bagged a little bit better. Maybe just kept a little bit more organized. But that's what I'm here for. That's what I do.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade or anything.
You already
he
did. What do you mean
gets
you're not
it.
trying to? It's already been done.
Yeah, I've always been very sporadic with my comic buying. I still buy them sometimes. Like I'll be bored and I'll pick up a couple of comics and I'll read them. But I don't tend to get through a whole series. I don't tend to read. If I'm gonna read a series, usually it's in trade back. Like that's how I read Hellblazer and those kinds of things, Walking Dead. But I'm not. It's hard for me to keep up with, like, I don't know when comics come out, and I don't know when they take breaks, and, like, I'm like, oh, I guess that comic's dead, The one comic I did it with was Scarlet Spider, and that got canceled, and I was like, man, all right.
I like the idea of comics, but I don't, I don't subscribe, I don't support, I don't go get comics, and I don't think there's even a comic place in my town. I don't think if I wanted to, I don't think I could. Maybe the Magic the Gathering store does comics because there's literally one nerd store in town, but they don't do D&D and they don't do Warhammer, so I just lost faith in them and walked away.
Yeah, Jahan talking about trade paperbacks. That's what makes selling comics a little bit easier, especially the stuff that's not of that much value these days. Is it's like, what if I want to read these again? It's like, well, just go buy the trade paperback. You can probably get it for $15 or less on Amazon, and then you can read those. They'll live forever. So it's not like you can't access things after you've sold them.
Or you can get the app or whatever if it's Marvel.
Yeah. So,
Which
anyways,
I've been thinking about, but yeah.
it was just an interesting experience. It stuck with me. I thought it was worth kind of shouting out. Jahan, do you think you could ever, like, say you needed to get rid of board games from your collection? Like, do you think you could ever part with some of them, or are there ones that you would never part with, some that you'd be fine getting rid of? What, like, because I know that's your thing.
Yeah, there's definitely some that I would be fine getting rid of, some that I would never get rid of. I have a lot of crap because I used to do like subscription boxes where you get like an assortment, and so I have some like garbage stuff. I have a board game. I got Broom Service right there. I haven't opened that since Robert spilt a drink all over it.
What a jerk!
What a jerk! What a jerk!
You guys are shady as hell, bro. Y'all are throwing shade at everyone tonight.
Yeah, it's real fun. I only do it to him.
Hey, they
I know
deserve
he'll
it.
feel
Remember,
bad.
I didn't get invited to Wimberley. They deserve all of it.
Yeah, they invited me, and I suck.
Is there a storm rolling in? Look at all this shade coming in. Oh my god.
It's okay. They
Somebody
regretted
have an
inviting
umbrella?
me because I'm the worst. No, I'm just kidding. It was fun, but yeah. No, I mean I have a lot of board games. I have some, man. I have so many I haven't played, dude. It's ridiculous. Like I got out of hand and bought a bunch of really big ones that take a long time to play, and it's just daunting to get through that pile. Like I have Darkest Dungeon, which is like in like 6 different boxes, and it's just like it's hard to get going with it, man. And
Yeah, you have to plan it. Like you have to be like, okay, I need this many friends, and we're gonna devote an entire weekend to learning this game and playing it, and it's gonna take a long time, and it's gonna be really intricate, but it's probably gonna be really fun.
And then we'll literally never play it again one more time because getting all of those friends together again on another weekend is nigh impossible for adults, it seems.
yeah, it's pretty difficult. But yeah, what about you, Gary? You hoarding anything at all right now?
I'm doing minis right now.
Got a lot
I'm
of
doing
minis.
I'm doing some minis, and I'm in a similar boat. I've got some that I would not want to get rid of, and there's probably some that I could part with.
Is there a resale market for painted minis?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Mine aren't painted that good. Mine are painted, but they're not painted that good for a markup. There's a big resell and trade community for this kind of stuff. Like if I didn't want to play orcs anymore, I could probably trade all my orcs for the equal amount of dollars or points for a different kind of army. A lot of players
Okay.
are into that kind of stuff. So they do retain their value. They just, if you're an expert painter, yes, you can sell them as if they're sculptures. I'm just a regular painter.
Right. Makes sense. Cool. I thought that was kind of an interesting roundtable topic because I had a good time with it this weekend. I still have plenty of comics that I didn't sell. Like I had boxes out there and people were coming through and getting stuff, and then it felt like by the end of it, it's like these boxes still look full. So that's just goes to show how many comics I had, I guess. But yeah, we can move on to fresh movies of the week, and I think I'm the only one that had one, unless y'all have any last minute additions.
No, I haven't. God, I haven't sat down and watched a movie in a minute, dog.
All right. Well, I went and saw Challengers, which this is the new movie starring Zendaya. It's a tennis movie that's out in theaters now.
Right.
Yeah, it's a straight now. You're this jogging your memory a little bit now.
Yeah, now I remember. I was like, what the hell is this? And then now I remember.
Did she lose in the movie?
Well,
Everybody loses.
kind of, but not. So the plot of the movie, well, first off, I'll say it's directed by Luca Guadagnino, who I've been a really, really big fan of the movies that he's directed. He did Call Me By Your Name, and he did the most recent Suspiria remake, and then also a movie that I talked about from 2022 that I saw at Fantastic Fest is Bones and All, which is the Timothée Chalamet cannibal love story movie. So like just
You have
very
talked about all of these, but I don't know these movies. 100%, I haven't seen a single one of these.
they're all very good, some very genre-y, but this is his newest movie. It was actually supposed to come out in September, and it was delayed due to the ongoing strikes at the time. And so now it's finally out. And the premise is Zendaya's character is married to character played by Mike Feist, who's like a former kind of Broadway guy, and then he was in the West Side Story remake that Steven Spielberg did. So Zendaya's character's name is Tashi Duncan, and she's married to this guy named Art Donaldson, played by Mike Feist. And essentially, he's like a tennis pro who's done really well, but he's on a losing streak, and she is his wife and his coach. And they sign up for this smaller challenger tournament because he's like trying to get his confidence back up, possibly make an attempt at the U.S. Open. And in this tournament, he ends up being paired up with another character named Patrick Zwig, played by Josh O'Connor, who's like his former best friend and his wife's former boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. So there's like history between these three. And there's this really intense tennis match that's taking place in the present, and then the movie cuts back and forth in like a nonlinear way, showing the history of these characters and like the kind of love triangle between them, which sounds really basic the way that I described it, but it is fantastic. Like the way that it's told, the sexual chemistry between the three, and I'm not just saying like between both the men and with Zendaya, but like even the men with each other. There's like a homoerotic element to it, but then also the heteronorm between the different. It's really fascinating, just the dynamic between all the characters. It's done really, really well. The movie is very like, not the types of words I do normally use to describe a movie, but like it's a very sexy movie. It's very well done. There's a lot of sweat. It's just
Zendaya, though. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's the thing that's interesting about Zendaya Zendaya is a huge movie star right now. Like whether or not she, appeals to us from that standpoint, like she's really big with the younger audience, like with the Euphoria crowd and so on. But she's like pretty much the biggest young female movie star that there is right now.
And she does appeal to us also, just for the record.
Yeah, and like she's great in the Dune movies. I like her in the Spider-Man movies, but this is really the first adult movie being sold on Zendaya's star power alone. This movie's budget was $55 million is what's reported. She got paid $10 million of that to be in this movie. So like she's making bank. This movie, if you look at the marketing for it, it is all Zendaya. It's all about her, and so it's a true test for her and her stardom. I kind of consider it's really the trio from the movies I've just listed. It's like Zendaya, Tom Holland, and Timothée Chalamet kind of like lead the charge for this younger generation of movie stars. And Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Timothée Chalamet is Wonka and Paul Atreides, and he's gonna be. He's going to be doing like a Bob Dylan biopic soon. Like, he's all over the place. And this is the Zendaya show. The boys in it, Josh O'Connor and Mike Feist are great as well. Josh O'Connor especially, I think, kind of steals the show. But Zendaya is really strong. She's great, and she's playing older in it, so it's very interesting. But all that to say, I loved this movie. Absolutely loved it. And highly, highly recommend it. I just was totally vibing with it. The score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, fantastic.
Yo, what's up, Trent Reznor? I know that guy. I'm a rock DJ, and he has 9 Inch Nails.
The kind of common thread is that people are saying, like, oh, it's their best score since Social Network, and I'd probably agree. It's just very upbeat. It's great with the tennis scenes. I just loved this movie and wanted to gush all over it. So that sounded sexual too. I didn't mean that. I just meant like I liked the movie a lot, and I wanted to gush about it. So not gush over it. Anyway, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to go ahead and
giving head to yourself. Did
move
you
on.
say? Let's talk about fresh TV of the week, John. Why don't you kick it off?
Okay. Meanwhile, Drew, go get a towel or something.
Take a shower.
Yeah, we'll cool things off with something less sexy, a quiz show called The Floor. I don't know if you're aware of this show, but it's...
Before you even say anything, do you answer a question and if you get it wrong, you fall?
No.
Like you fall out from, a floor falls out from under you?
No.
That's what my assumption would have been too.
All right, go ahead.
No, it's a competitive vacuuming show, and no, I'm just kidding. So It's a grid.
You
It's-
had me. I was going with.
Yeah,
it.
no, I was
had
thinking about keeping going with it, but I was like, nah, that's not what's really
Yeah,
happening.
dude, you should have taken us for a 10-minute ride.
Just describing a vacuum
A show
show.
that does not exist.
Brought
should
to you
have
by
taken us for
Hoover.
a ride.
Yeah, I realized I had you, and I was like, nah, it's not. I'm not doing it. It's hosted by Rob Lowe, and he is hosting this game show where it's like a grid. I don't remember exactly how many people, but it's like 10 by 20. There's a shit ton of people on this floor. Each of them has a square. And each of them gets to pick a category, I guess. They don't really get into how they pick their categories, but they have a trivia topic category. And then it will randomly select somebody that hasn't been picked ever, and they get to challenge their neighbors. And if they win, they inherit their section of the floor. And if they lose, they're gone. So, and then the other person inherits their section. So... it's a territory gaining game where some people, it's like, there was a lot of really big moves where like a person that hadn't gone yet would take like 10 squares from like one of the bigger people, and whoever has the most at the end of each day of filming, I guess, gets $10,000. But whoever wins the whole floor gets like $250,000. So it's this interesting competitive show. There's a lot of weird strategy to it. It's very different from a lot of trivia shows. All the people are the typical like I gotta, make up some kind of personality for this TV show. I'm gonna be about hats. I don't know, like that kind of weird shit. But it's fun. Rob Lowe's a good host, and I enjoyed this show so far. The Floor. I think it's on Hulu. I think that's where I watched it.
That sounds horrible, and it makes me want to throw up.
That sounds horrible. Okay.
It sounds horrible, and it makes me want to throw up. That's my review.
That's the review of
a
my
hot take.
review.
No, just no, not necessarily that your review was bad, that the show sounds like ass. Not your review is fine.
The show, I feel it's entertaining. I recommend it, but only if you like that kind of quiz show, I guess.
Your review was great. Dare I say, one of the best reviews I've ever heard in my life. I was
thanks,
on the edge
man.
of my seat. Yeah, I listened to every word. Just the show, I think the show makes me want to throw up and die.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing personal.
No, I wasn't invested in
I've been
the
watching
critique.
Delicious in Dungeon on
Okay.
Netflix. I'm just calling it Dungeon Food Netflix, but you guys already know this. And I told you last week, if you haven't watched it, I'm taking it personally and you don't like me. And that continues on for this week. And that's the only fresh TV I'm going to talk about.
Hell yeah.
For what it's worth, the way that we have our document is we put entries and we put our initials by them, so you know like who put it there, who talked about it, or who's going to talk about it. And Gary put this in, and next to it just put me. And I just,
Yeah.
we all know who that's referring to. That's all I want to say.
Usually I'm pretty good about putting the G to know who's going to talk about what. But yeah, I'm the only person watching Delicious in Dungeon because my friends don't like me.
I mean,
And so that's fine.
I knew who me was. I was pretty sure. No, I've watched Delicious Dungeon. I like it. So, haha, I'm your friend.
Where are you at? Did you watch one episode?
That's not important.
Yes, it is.
That's not important.
He's not my friend either. See, I'm telling
I'm
you.
your friend. Speaking of anime, I've been watching Go Go Loser Rangers. It is an anime on Hulu. And it is your typical. It's like your Sentai suit kind of thing. Power Rangers, Kamen Rider style, but in anime form. So these characters have the ability to summon great power, and they get these colorful suits and blah blah blah. But the twist in this show is that the Dragon Rangers, as they're called, or no, the Dragon Keepers. Sorry, they're kind of the villains of this show. Before the show starts, there are these aliens that come, these monsters that come to attack, humanity or whatever. The Rangers, the Dragon Keepers, defeat them, but they don't tell the world that they defeated them. Instead, they come up with this pact with the monsters that they get to live as long as they put on these performative battles in an arena once a week, so that the Rangers get to continue to be the heroes. And the point of this show is that one of the monsters is fed up with it. He escapes and he decides to infiltrate their ranks to try to take them down from the inside. It's a really interesting show, a really interesting concept, and it's a pretty cool anime. Very well drawn. And it's just, I think it's fun. I think if you like those kinds of, if you like Power Rangers and stuff like that, it's a good adult take on it. So check it out, Go Go Loser Rangers on Hulu.
Nice.
You told me to watch this one like twice now, but since you won't watch any more Delicious and Dungeon,
I'll go watch them. I'll go watch it right now.
I'm on strike.
Don't talk to me anymore because I'm watching it right now while we're podcasting. I'm turning it on.
I'm on strike.
I'm going to talk about Knuckles, which Knuckles is he's a warrior echidna, for those who don't know.
Yes, that's Sonic's friend, the red
one. That is Sonic's
with
friend.
Hands.
Yep, he's got little pointy spikes on his fists.
One of my favorite video games growing up was Sonic and Knuckles for the Genesis.
Oh, there you go. Well, are you a fan of the new Sonic the Hedgehog movies they've made? They're the two theatrical releases they've done.
They are better than I thought they were going to be, and they are totally watchable. Yes, yeah. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'm a fan. I don't think I would. I don't want any merch. I don't want a T-shirt, but it's passable. It's a little bit better than passable.
No, I totally agree. Like the first, there's the whole debacle with the Sonic design and what he looked like, and then the fans revolted, and
it's
then
been all uphill since then. It's been all good.
Could you imagine if that movie had shipped? That would have been bananas.
It's not fair that I'm in this dimension when there's a dimension where that movie exists. That's the one I deserve to live in. I don't deserve
Human
to live
Teeth
here.
Sonic.
I want to live in the Human Teeth Sonic dimension.
I'm glad that we got more of it in the Chip and Dale movie. That was that made me happy.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good gag. It was crazy that after all that movie went through, then the first one came out, and like it was good. Like it wasn't like amazing by any means, but like it was a pretty solid kind of kids family movie with Sonic, and there's plenty of things you could pick apart from it, but at the end of the day it was fun. And I thought the second one was even better. Doubled down on it and was even more fun and a little bit bigger and had more characters. Knuckles and Tails brought in Jim Carrey going full Robotnik in that one, just over the top, kind of the Jim Carrey of old that we grew up with, just being super silly. I like those movies. It's not like ones I rewatch, but I liked them, and I will go see the third entry that comes out this year that has Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow the Hedgehog in the new entry. But anyways, they did this spin-off series, Knuckles, on Paramount Plus, and the whole series just dropped this past Friday. It's only 6 episodes. They're all 30 minutes or less, so you can get through this whole little mini series in about 3 hours. And it's right in line with the show. It's like very watchable. It's Idris Elba reprises the role of Knuckles, voices Knuckles, and it's all about him teaming with Adam Pally, who plays Wade Whipple, who's a like deputy sheriff character that's in the first 2 movies. I'll be honest, when I saw the second movie, I didn't even remember the Wade character from the first movie, but he's a little bit more memorable in the second movie. He's just like a very silly side character, and he is a lead in this show with Idris Elba's Knuckles, and it's all about
what?
Idris Elba's Knuckles.
Oh, okay, sorry, I mistook that. My mom was disappointed when she found out that Idris Elba was voicing Knuckles and wasn't in the show, and so she lost interest at that point.
He is a handsome man. He's pretty to look at.
My mom, it's one of my mom. It's like my mom's, what do you call it, hall pass, probably, if I had to guess.
It's a good one. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
That might be my pick too.
That's a good pick. It's a good pick.
It's a good pick.
The kind of the overall plot of this movie is essentially Knuckles is trying to teach Wade to be a warrior, and Wade is trying to get to Reno to participate in a bowling tournament. And it's like, because he has daddy issues, whatever. It's like very silly. But the first 2 episodes in particular are very much just like kind of the tone of the movies and just very silly and not doing anything that crazy. And I was just kind of like, okay, I get it. And then the 3rd and 4th episodes, I feel like really did interesting things that I wasn't expecting, with this. In particular, the third episode is like a family dinner with Wade's family, and Gary, you would know. Edie Patterson, I think is how you pronounce her name, plays Wade's sister, but she's the one that plays the sister in Righteous Gemstones.
In Gemstones, yes.
Yeah,
and also in the Santa Claus one.
Yeah, so she's in this, and
Violent
like
Night.
that's right, she is in Violent Night.
She plays the same character.
And she plays the same
God,
character
she
in
was
this.
so good in
Yeah.
that.
She's 100% the same character in
She
this.
gets
There's
a
a
pass from me because she plays such a hateable, despicable character that if you want to cast somebody hateable, not a lot of people sign up for that, and she's real hateable. She's really great at it.
Yeah, she's really playing that same exact role in Knuckles, and she's Wade's sister, and she's in the FBI, so she just keeps wanting to like one up him that he's just like a deputy sheriff, but she's in the FBI. At one point, she stabs him in the arm with a fork while they're just like throwing jests at each other, and I legit like belly laughed at the scene when I was watching it. And there's in the fourth episode, not to get too much into the nitty gritty, but the fourth episode is directed by Yorma Tacone, which I like. That stood out to me in the opening credits. I'm like, oh, okay, Yorma directed this, and there is a full on like rock opera music video part of that episode that's full on like kind of what you've come to expect from The Lonely Island. So he really did bring like the touch of what he's good at into it, and the whole segment is done practically, like practical effects that kind of tell the Knuckles origin story with Wade. It's amazingly done, and I just kind of couldn't believe I just couldn't believe they did this huge set piece in like the fourth episode of a Knuckles TV show. I'm like, what is even happening here?
I love where Yorma has come through his career. It's been great to watch him grow. He's of course the guy who directed Superbad.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, his directorial debut. So he's one of the Lonely Island guys. And when Andy Samberg got on SNL, the other two, Yorma and Akiva, were writers. And they have been writers and directors sort of since then. And so it's been cool to see them do these little projects here and there to see where they've come. For me, anyways, I'm a huge Lonely Island fanboy.
He directed not Superbad, but he directed the MacGruber movie, and he also directed Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping, which is great. But he wrote on like Hot Rod and
Hot Rod. Oh, that's right. That's what I meant. Hot Rod, not Superbad. Hot Rod, and he was the brother. He was the weird little brother.
Yes.
Yeah. He was great in Hot Rod. Hot Rod is one of those movies I could watch over and over again.
I always say Superbad and mean Hot Rod. I see them both in my head with the same font, same cover.
Forgot he voiced the Vulture in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is a funny tidbit. Anyways, yeah, that like to me the whole Knuckles series is almost worth watching just to get to that fourth episode and see the practical segment they did here, because I was just kind of blown away by it. But anyways, so all that to say, I went into this just expecting like, oh, this is just going to be a silly kids show, and it kind of is that at the beginning, but they actually really do some interesting things in this. So it's very watchable. I actually kind of recommend it for that reason. So that's Knuckles. It's on Paramount Plus. All 6 episodes are currently streaming.
Yeah, I saw this on your list, and I had enough time to actually watch the first one before our stream, so I did. It was pretty good. I liked it. I don't know, man. Those movies show that there's some pretty talented people working on this, because, I mean, the subject matter is hard to make great. It is a Sonic movie, after all. But, like, the Knuckles show has promise. I like what they're doing with the bad guys. The bad guys are pretty cool. There's a lot of showy special effects, some fun fight scenes already in the first episode. And one of the main bad guys is the Hound from Game of Thrones, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. When I saw him, I was like, oh, it's the Hound.
Yeah, see, and I was like, is that the Hound? It kind of looks like him, but this guy looks way bigger. And then sure enough, I looked up the credits and it was him. He's like in this setting where he's welding in a workshop, and it kind of reminds me of Whiplash from Iron Man 2,
kinda,
Mickey Rourke scene. Like that's the vibes it gave me, but it's the Hound.
Now, he looks big because he's not standing next to the mountain anymore. That's why he looks big. Because that guy is huge.
Is big, exactly.
He's such a big dude in real life. It's crazy. But yeah, he looks small next to the world's largest man or whatever. Yeah, no, I like Knuckles too. It's definitely a great watch for families. And even if you're not watching with your family and you enjoyed the movies, I would say give it a shot. And I haven't even gotten to the 4th episode, so I'm excited for that.
He's 6'6". Rory McCann.
It's pretty big, dude.
Okay, never mind. He's way bigger than I realized. That's crazy.
Taller than me. That dude's huge.
It's huge.
Well,
Yeah.
Jahan, we'll see if you can get past your gimmick and watch more than just the first episode of Knuckles.
My gimmick? Why is that my gimmick? Do I?
That's
Oh,
your-
because
that's
I
your
did that
thing,
with
apparently.
Gary too.
Yeah, you watch the first episode and that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's because
Close-
I hate both of
close
you, and I
enough.
don't want to bond. That's why.
I know. I know. It's good to hear you say it.
Yeah. It's good to say it. It feels great. It's liberating.
I'm sure everybody listening at home is relieved, a deep breath, a sigh of relief also now that the tension's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not actually friends in this podcast. We're enemies. Hey, speaking of enemies, games. There's enemies at games. What are you doing, Drew? Are you doing any games?
I actually have gotten to play a little bit of games here recently, and I picked up in a recent Xbox Spring Sale. I got RoboCop Rogue City, which is not the type of game I would normally get, but I had just seen some decent reviews for this. I wanted to check it out, and it's definitely like a little bit lower budget. This is not a AAA title by any means, but it's a first-person game, and I actually am having a lot of fun with it. It's very cheesy, like the cutscenes are cheesy, the graphics aren't that great, but when you're playing as RoboCop, you're very much RoboCop. You are very slow and kind of plodding. You have a pistol. You can pick up other weapons, but you have your pistol that's extremely strong. I don't know why you'd even want to use anything else. You're kind of overpowered, and so you're just like... You do missions, but in between you're just kind of on the streets of Detroit, and like you can give out tickets to people, or you can give warnings, or
like
you
that.
can
Drive around?
Can
you just drive around?
not if you can. I haven't gotten there yet, but I don't think so. You can
If
walk around.
You can just drive around. If that's a thing, I'm gonna buy that game. I love just driving around.
There's like little side quests that use police skills, and RoboCop has a scanning ability, so you can like scan evidence and things like that. And so there's like a lot of little side objectives. But if you
kinda
just go
fun.
through the main story missions, it's very much just like clear out this place of enemies, move to point A to point E, clear out more enemies. But it is fun that you're overpowered and you're just like headshotting guys with your pistol that has infinite ammo, that has a burst fire. It's very gory, very, very bloody first-person shooter. But like for what it is, it's very old school. Like this feels like a first-person shooter game you would have had on like the OG Xbox or something.
Yeah.
And but on the Xbox Series or Xbox One consoles, or
You said it's on
PlayStation,
sale?
whatever you're playing on. It was on sale in the spring sale. I don't know if
Okay.
it still is. I think I picked it up for like $30 or something like
It's
that.
not bad.
And it is worth it, at least so far. I'm having a good time with it for what it is. It's just a very...
That one was on my wish list for a long time, and I read the reviews, and what you're saying is in line with a lot of what the people said, which is it's a lot of fun, it's just dated, and it's a
Yes.
full-price game. And so everyone was like, if you can get it for a discount, it'll be great. So you did the right thing. I meant to pick it up, but I totally forgot. Yeah, I wanted to play it
Dated
too.
is the
Yeah,
perfect word for it. Dated.
and that's what
is
they
a great
said is
way.
they were like, you're overpowered, but you're supposed to be because you're RoboCop, and it feels like RoboCop, and it's a good time. So I'll keep my eye out. I hope it comes to Game Pass someday.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
it's fun enough for what it is. For me, kind of easing back into games and not getting much time, it's a good one for me to just like play a little bit here and there.
Speaking of Game Pass, I just want to talk. Some good stuff came to Game Pass recently. I forget what one of them was called, but did you guys see that crab game?
I did. It's like a Dark Souls crab game.
It's a Souls-like crab game in where you can switch your shell out, and it gives you different powers. It gives you different blocking abilities. Looks very fun. That just came to Game Pass. It's called Another Crab's Treasure. And I feel like
Gary
that's
just shaking his head immediately.
Gary doesn't like
Man,
Souls-likes.
I'm so disappointed in Game Pass. If you look at like the 5 most recent things that have come out, they've been terrible. I think Persona is the only decent thing they've released like in months. Game Pass has been bad.
See, I feel the opposite because I put it on the list because I think they've been doing good stuff. Another Crab's Treasure, yeah, it's a Souls-like. It has one of the most fun accessibility features I've ever heard of in a game, where you can turn on gun mode and your shell is a handgun. And you can just one hit anything, and it's just a way for somebody who might not be able to play the most challenging game to be able to enjoy it. But yeah, that's free on Game Pass. Jedi Survivor just dropped on Game Pass, which is a pretty big title.
Did not just drop. It's been on EA Plus the whole time. They just put it back up on the title screen.
Oh, did they? I thought it just dropped for the first time.
It's been on EA Pass. They probably took it off and put it back on because I played it the first time on there.
The new one? I thought the new one just got added.
This is the new one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Fallen Order is the one you're thinking of.
Fallen Order.
No, this is Jedi Survivor. This is the sequel.
My bad.
So see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this is actually a pretty good get for Xbox.
That is a real game. Okay, so now you see why I was like, that's bull.
Because you thought they put it back. I can understand that. I'd be upset too if they were putting old shit on.
Okay, I'll eat my words. I deserve to stick my foot in my mouth on that one.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. It also happens to Drew sometimes. Ha ha! Suck it, Drew.
He's not the best.
They also dropped Orcs Must Die 3, which wasn't my favorite Orcs Must Die game, but it's pretty cool co-op game for free on Game Pass. I had a lot of fun with it.
2 years ago, and it's probably the worst of all the Orcs Must Die games.
All right, so
I feel like
the second
Orcs
one's
Must
the best
Die,
one.
I feel like that's like when we first started doing the podcast. I feel like that's one of the first games y'all were
because
really playing.
Right,
then.
and it's just now on Game Pass.
It's just now on Game Pass, but I'm happy that people get to enjoy one of my favorite franchises. And another game that just dropped on PC is Manor Lords, which is a city builder that's a highly anticipated city builder game that's been on my radar for a long time. I thought I would have to decide whether or not I was going to buy it, but no, it's free on Game Pass, so you guys can check that out. I think day one on Game Pass. It's not out yet, I don't think, but soon. I personally think that they've been doing a good job with Game Pass lately. I keep seeing things coming on that I want to play. I keep downloading stuff to my Xbox with the intention to play.
So Jahan just picked out some of the hot ones. I'd like to tell you guys some of the cold ones.
That's fair, man. Tit for tat, dog.
Here is Botany Manor, so that you can cut plants. And it's like a 64-bit graphic game. Looks like it's out of N64. So if you want to do topiary, there's the topiary game. Then NHL 24, I couldn't care less. I'm sure Canadians are losing their mind right now. Eiyuden Chronicle, don't care. Jedi Survivor, like I said, I'll eat my foot on that one. That's a good one. Another Crab's Treasure, a Crab Souls-like. Yeah, everybody was asking for that the Crab Souls-like. And then whatever the hell Rewinder is, and whatever the hell Have a Nice Day is. They're all like indie brand games except for Jedi Survivor, which is an EA game, which would have been on the EA Plus eventually anyways. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this at all.
I mean, the thing I like about Game Pass is that you get those mixed in with the good stuff. Like we also have Herod Halibut, which is a entirely stop motion adventure game that's actually a full, very well detailed game that looks very interesting. And you also get the other ones I talked about. You get the new Ark. You get Diablo 4 is out, which I don't care about, but hey, cool.
I'm going to defend one of the games that Gary just poo-pooed on because Eiyuden Chronicles, it's a second game. The first one, Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, is really good. I loved it actually, and got all the achievements in it, and really enjoyed it.
This is when I said I just don't know. I don't know Eiyuden Chronicle.
It's like a spiritual successor tribute to the old Suikoden games, from PlayStation and old PS1 like RPGs, and so it's kind of in that vein. So if you like old school JRPGs, it's for you. But if not, then that's it. Which, those games are
not my cup of tea either. Really,
but. You guys have really proven my point here. If you want to play games that feel like old games, get Game Pass and spend a bunch of money to play a bunch of old games.
Not a bunch of money, just a little bit.
It used to be cool. Game Pass used to be on fire. It is not on fire right now. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. I hope they're saving their money for something really big or something really cool, because I'm not happy with Game Pass. Not at all.
I disagree and am happy, and I do expect some bigger things to come out soon. I feel like you're definitely right that we haven't had a lot of big hits coming out. What was the last like huge release?
Starfield.
Like Starfield? Yeah, I mean, you have a point for sure. I enjoy it for what it is. I like playing all these weird games and trying stuff out, and yeah,
Look, I'm playing Forza all the time. I'm playing a ton of Forza Horizon 5, and it's on Game Pass because it's a Microsoft game.
Yeah.
So I do use Game Pass, and I like it. It's just as far as new games coming to the service, I've been really disappointed. Existing titles are great.
Yeah.
No complaints there. It's just we've been really lackluster. When Starfield was generally
guess-
seen as a letdown, I thought it was a fine game, and I thought it was a good Game Pass edition.
on that sentiment, I guess I agree with you completely. Like, existing games, there's a great selection and it's worth the money. But we really aren't getting the newest stuff, it feels like. And you're right, we should be a little disappointed in that.
It should be, yeah, man. I didn't mean to bring you down, but that's
No, you're not wrong.
when I'm pissed, I want someone else to be pissed too. Maybe that's just on me. Maybe it's my fault.
Yeah, it is what it is. But hey, you've been playing Forza. You've also been playing what else did you want to talk about?
I've been
Okay,
playing predecessors all the time,
It's
pretty
really
much.
fun.
Not all. Yeah, I get all the homies are on predecessors. I told you guys about this last week. Jahan talked about it last week. It's like League of Legends, except not. It's like Smite, except better. Smite is a League of Legends knockoff. Somehow this is a Smite knockoff, but it's better than Smite. I'm about predecessors. You have your middle lane, you have your tanks, you have your junglers, you have a support, you have an AD carry who kills all the minions and builds the items, and you're trying to blow up each other's towers, then the inhibitors, and then the core. It's exactly like League of Legends. There's a dragon in the jungle, but it's called Fangtooth, and there's a Baron in the jungle, but he's called Orb Prime. Otherwise, it's the same game with different characters and different items. I'm good at it, I like it, and it's fun.
Same.
You gotta have the homies,
It's-
though.
it's
Not
good
super
stuff.
fun to play by yourself.
No, it's not the best one. Some of the pug, it has some of the worst pugs I've ever played with. But hey, it's a fun game and it's free, so check it out. I really want this game to be successful. Maybe one day we could do like some competitive shit. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't have a ranked yet. That would be great.
No.
Right now, it's still in alpha or whatever. It's still in game preview mode.
Yeah.
So you guys should check it out. See what you think. I'm predecessing. If you guys want a predecessor, I barely know her. You know what I mean?
The last thing I want to talk about, because I felt like people might be interested, because it's a little bit more accessible here. My brother-in-law, my brother, got me into Lorcana. I don't know if you've heard of Lorcana, but it is a trading card game, like a real physical trading card game in the vein of Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! It plays a little bit more like Magic, but it is Disney themed. This game originated in the Disney theme parks. Used to only be able to get the cards there and play it there, but it has since been released as physical cards. And essentially, you could turn cards into ink. You can use that ink to summon creatures. You send your creatures on a quest for lore, and the first person to 20 lore wins the game. So it's called Lorcana. It's in a lot of ways it's very different from Magic, but it has a lot of similarities. It's a little bit more accessible. I've kind of becoming obsessed with it a little bit. I've only played a little, but I already bought a few boosters, got some cool cards, got a card binder. Like, I'm really getting into it. And hopefully, maybe one day I'll be able to do like a tournament or something. Let you guys know how it goes.
I hope you crush the opponents in the Lorcana tournament. You're the man, bro.
I do too, man. My brother-in-law was telling me he was in a Lorcana tournament, and he went up against like an 8-year-old kid, and he just mopped the floor with him. And he was trying not to laugh the whole time because it's just funny. And yeah, it's pretty good stuff. Yeah, that's Lorcana. Check it out. It's still a very new game. So if you start playing now, you're going to be in on the ground floor. There's not like a bunch of expansions and stuff that you're not going to be able to get. The cards are a little harder to find, but just buy a starter deck for like I think they're $15, and you're ready to play.
If you believe in it, you should just buy a bunch of starter decks and not open them. Hold on to them for a few years.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad idea. There's a store nearby that I actually bought a bunch of stuff from called Hero Collectibles over near the Energy Corridor in Houston. and they gave me a bunch of raffle tickets. And if I had won, I would have gotten an entire box of Lorcana cards for like normally like $150. But they do a giveaway like every month, I think, and that was pretty cool. So shout out to them, I guess.
Are there Star Wars cards in Lorcana?
Not as of yet. It is all just basic Disney stuff. No Marvel, no Star Wars.
I saw. Was looking at Google stuff, and I think they were like custom.
They might be
ones
customs,
that
yeah.
So, yeah.
Mentioned a raffle. The other day, there's a brand new store in my town. They were doing a raffle. They were raffling off a grill, but she didn't take anybody's information. She would just rip the raffle ticket and put one half in the bucket and give you the other half.
Yeah.
And after she did it, I just stared at it and I was like, but how will I know?
I mean,
How will she know?
either you had to be there or they have it on social. The way that they did it at the store was they had it on their Instagram. They showed the winner, and then you can go claim it. But yeah, you probably should have asked her, Gary.
How will we know?
You probably should have asked her.
Did I win the grill?
That's it for fresh games this week, though. Lorcana, yeah, it's starting to eat away at my pockets, but I like it a lot. I have a Merlin deck, and everybody can suck it. We're going to move on to fresh picks of the week, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk about our favorite things. My life's been weird this week. Maybe predecessors, I think, is what I'm going to go with.
That's fair. Yeah, your life's been weird this week. That's cool. Predecessors is awesome. So good pick there. I am going to go with Go-Go Loser Rangers. It's a hot new anime. Check it out. It just started releasing, and I believe it releases weekly on Hulu. So check that out.
And I'm going to go with Challengers as my fresh pick of the week. A movie I really liked. It's been a while that an original movie like this has come out that I just was really raving about and really loved. So this and Dune 2 are easily my favorite movies of the year so far. And both happen to star Zendaya, which is interesting. But yeah, Challengers is my fresh pick of the week.
Hell yeah, guys. Well, I guess that concludes it for this week.
I wanted to know if you guys wanted to watch some of The Circle. The new season of The Circles just came out on Netflix, I think, last week. And if you guys want, we could all watch a couple episodes and then talk about it next week. Also, you guys have proven time and time again that you hate me, so you don't have to do that if you don't want to.
That's fair. That's fair. I do hate you, but Jenny loves The Circle, and it's one of the reality shows that I can actually stand. So yeah, I could do that.
What about you, Drew?
I've never watched an episode of The Circle, so maybe this is the time to jump in.
Oh yeah, jump in. Let's jump in. Let's.
You've never watched The Circle, Drew? It's one of the
better, considering I'm a reality TV guy.
It's one of the better reality shows, man. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. So yeah, no, The Circle, yeah, we can watch that. We'll talk about it next week on Fresh Out the Podcast. That'll be episode 122. This is episode 121 of Fresh Out the Podcast. I have been the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Box and Fresh Out the Podcast, where we play tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, except not Dungeons and Dragons because everybody else is playing that. So we play all sorts of other stuff. Come by, check us out, or check out our YouTube, Twitter. That's Fresh Out the Box TTRPG. You just type it all in. Fresh Out the Box TTRPG. Thank you, guys.
I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. You find me on the social medias at Drew Munhausen. And as I said, this has been episode 121, Fresh Out the Podcast.
Stay fresh.